Hello, you wonderful people. So for today's video, I'm going to talk about some news that came out that there's going to be a Highlander reboot. I really quickly want to bring up the fact is it is May 24th at the time of me recording this, and this video is most likely not going to go up until maybe next Wednesday, so a lot of information could end up coming out before then, but it's just because of the way I got stuff scheduled out, like this is going to end up coming out that late. So like I said, some of this information might be out, you know, some more information will be out by then, but I just wanted to talk about it because I thought it was such fascinating news. Obviously one thing we know, well, two things we know. One, that this reboot is going to have Henry Cavill in it, and it's also being directed by the dude who done the John Wick movies, which I've never seen the John Wick movies. I've always wanted to, but as you know, I'm not like the biggest movie person. But I have seen, you know, bits and pieces of the John Wick movie just because I've seen other people watching them and just like promotional stuff like that. So obviously you get some like very high octane action, which is kind of crazy and cool to think about in a Highlander movie, because I think obviously like the main thing is going to be swordplay. Like that's always been an aspect to it. Obviously, like to my recollection, there have been like modernizations where it's like also like you incorporate other aspects too, because I know Mario Van Peebles was in one of them. I don't remember. I want to say it was like the second one maybe. But I think I vaguely remember there being like, oh yeah, like it's modern day, so like they end up using guns, and like it still comes down to swordplay at the very end of the day, because obviously you got to lop off some heads and stuff like that. But I feel like so that can probably end up being something they incorporate and stuff like that. Maybe it obviously probably wouldn't be the biggest part, but I think it's going to be interesting, like swordplay in like a high octane action sort of way, because not only will you get the awesome swordplay, which I'm a nut about, because like, you know, swords are like my favorite weapons. I just think that it's just the coolest thing ever. I've always felt that way ever since I was a kid. That's why I think the Highlander movies always resonated with me. Just because like, oh, cool, swords are so cool. You know, I've always had that mentality. But I think it's going to be so interesting, like, you know, how they would like how the action will be choreographed and filmed, because I think it's not only like, I'm sure you get like, because John Wick is a very much, you know, what I do know is like it's a very environmental like fighting style too, and like where you basically use your surroundings as your weapons as well. So it could be something to incorporate that, as well as like, you know, even when you're doing your swordplay, like you can incorporate some very like hand-to-hand close quarters combat as well in that aspect. So I think just that alone is kind of pretty dope to think about what the action will look like, you know, when it comes to a Highlander. But since I brought it up, like my experience with Highlander, I've seen the movies. I believe there's 3. I've not seen them in a long time, especially the first one. I haven't seen it since I was a kid. I want to say the last Highlander movie was maybe the 2003. I think it's called Highlander Endgame, if I'm not mistaken. Future Michael, who's editing this, will, you know, include an annotation to bring up whether or not I'm correct or wrong about everything. But still, I'm slightly familiar with the show. I remember seeing some odd episodes here and there, but yeah. You know, it's also interesting too, because it's like, right, you've got Henry Cavill playing this role, and it's like, right, he's playing Geralt in The Witcher, you know, so interesting, like, it's not the same vein, but, you know, it's similar in certain regards. I think that's interesting. But, yeah, because a conversation that has come up too is like, when it say reboot, like, are we continuing the continuities from those movies, which I don't think, I mean, it could possibly be, but it's like, if I remember correctly, Connor McLeod, I think the character's name is, it's Christopher Lambert's character. He dies in like what I think it's the 3rd movie he dies. Because doesn't the movie tie into like the TV show? I don't remember. Or is that separate? I don't know. I don't remember. Like, it's been so long. But it's also interesting timing too, because obviously me finding about this news today, which is also the same day that the Eternals teaser trailer dropped, because I love the whole notion of immortality, like, you know, or at least living for a very long time, and just the struggles that come with it as you watch everything and everyone you know and love wither away and turn to dust. Obviously kind of slightly paraphrasing and quoting something more recently that recent show that had a conversation about extended, very, very long life spans and stuff like that. But regardless, I think that's going to be an interesting element, you know, to dive into. I always think that's you know, the tragic side of immortality, or living for a long time, being the only one. Like power, it comes at the price of living long enough to watch everything and everyone you know wither away, you know. And so I always, like I said, just you know, and especially what you can do with that, like depending on how much of a time frame they want to cover the movies in. I mean, very much like the Eternals, like how much time you want to, you know, is it going to take place modern day? Are we going to, like, is some of the movie going to take place in the past? Are we going to, like, I'm curious to see how they'll handle it, you know, like how many like Highlanders are going to be running around, what the story would necessarily be. Like I said, is it like, it seems like it's just going to be like is Henry Cavill going to be Connor McCloud, but we're just like starting fresh, like this is going to be Highlander 1, but like obviously like a more modern reimagine, not saying that it takes place, but obviously a modern day reimagining of like that potentially, you know. I'm really curious. Like I said, I'm a fan of that mythology from what I can remember, but I think that's going to be pretty dope. Like at the time, like I said, at the time of recording this is all we know for now. But obviously, in between me recording this and this actually getting uploaded, there probably could be a lot more information that potentially comes out in that like little more than a week time frame, but you know, we'll see. Obviously, these are just some of my thoughts about everything. I'd love to get to know yours in the comments down below. Are you excited about this news? Are you someone who's watched the Highlander movies or the TV show? Did you enjoy either or? Does this reboot excite you? Is it a property like, oh, it's a property I didn't even think of? I was like, right, this is a property that hasn't been touched in what, 17 years potentially? I feel like there was like a movie or something based on a TV show that might have came out like 2007 maybe? If that is the case, I don't remember. So it's been like, if that was the case, if I remember correctly, once again, future Michael correct me, that was like 13, 14 years ago. So it's a good enough time to like to touch a franchise that hasn't been touched in a long time. So yeah, like I said, I'd love to get to know your thoughts about everything in the comments down below. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.